right. Now, you've recently, well, not recently, but you've been a co-author before. Is that hard, going from writing a book on your own to
Most
co-author?
writers aren't collaborative at all. The reason why people become writers is
because they don't want to work with other people.
They don't play well with other children. They need to be in a room by themselves. And to make it worse, I began writing novels with my other half, who's South African. I wanted to write very science fiction with a very female slant because I felt it was very male-oriented. And it's very hard to collaborate with someone who can smother you in your sleep. You know, if you have an argument, if you when you wake up at night and she's just staring at you fixedly and like, am I all right? You know, in that just level of just seething hatred because you've dismissed her wonderful prose. So it's taught me diplomatic skills that I did not learn in the previous decade of the relationship because I'd like to keep living a little bit longer, please.
Now, what do you hope readers take away from this book before I get to some social media questions? Because some people sent through some.
Well, the very least a writer owes is that the reader puts the book down and thinks they haven't wasted their time. You know, books can be expensive, but if you can't afford a book, you can buy one in a used bookstore, you can go to a library. But you only, or whatever it may be, but you only have so much time to read. And the very least I want is for people to put that down and think, actually, I'm glad I read that, and I enjoyed it, and I got something out of it. And that's all really a writer owes you. And it's the very least that a writer owes you.
All right, I'm going to get to those tweets now. You have amazing South African fans.
God bless them.
Okay. Gareth Roberts wants to know, are there any plans for the Charlie Parker books to become films?
Not film. I think television is always circling around things like this, and I think that's really the future for mystery fiction because it allows a little bit more space. I think we've all had the experience of going to see our favourite novels adapted and feeling that everything that we loved about them has been taken away because you've only got 2 hours, whereas with television, you've got 10 hours or 12 hours. And so, yeah, there are people circling for television, but I think that would happen before film.
Like an HBO series type of thing?
Yeah, I think, and I think as the series True Detective probably changed a lot because it was so dark, and I think people thought, actually, you can do almost anything now on television. So I think that's really the future for a lot of writers like me. It's television.
True Detective is great.
It was. Its treatment of women, not particularly good. I mean, you could either be a hooker or a victim. There wasn't really anything in between, and you would have thought, there was a little bit more scope for women, and I thought its treatment of women was a bit dubious, but it looked beautiful and was beautifully acted.
Yeah. What's your favorite go-to series at the moment?
Oh, at the moment, I'm working my way through Boardwalk Empire, but I have a lot of affection for Twin Peaks. I was quite excited to hear Twin Peaks was coming back because I grew up with Twin Peaks, and it never had an ending, and we'd quite like to have an ending if that's okay. So I'm looking forward to Twin Peaks.
I recently rewatched the whole of Twin Peaks, and
it's great up until the end when it starts talking about owls, and then it gets a bit odd. But yeah, it's fantastic.
All right, any plans for another Angel and Louis story?
No, Angel and Louis are two characters. They're kind of Parker's colleagues and hired guns. I wrote one book about them. I think they work better with him. I think they're a kind of aspect of his personality, and I think they work better in the books that he's in as well. So I'm never say never, but I'm not sure.
Those two are funny.
Yeah.
Do you ever wish you'd stayed in journalism?
No.
Never?
No.
Ever?
I still do a little bit. I still interview writers. If I'm curious about writers, I'll interview them. But I think it's a very hard way to make a living. I think people get burnt out. And also, you get used to just writing 1,000 words or 500 words, and a novel is 150 or 160,000 words. And so it's very hard. A lot of journalists think, when I retire, I'm going to write a book. It's a huge switch from the little instant things that you were getting. So no, I don't really miss it. I miss, I suppose, when I write a book, the whole edifice of the book is on my name. Whereas if I write something for the newspaper, it just needs to occupy 5 minutes and then people move on to something else. So I miss that aspect of it.
How did you make that transition?
Without any difficulty at all.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't miss working with people. I like people.
I'm starting to get a little offended here.
Yes, just slightly hurt. The newspaper wasn't calling going, hey, it's the newspaper, what you doing now? They didn't care either. No, I was quite happy to go off and work by myself. I think I got into journalism because I liked writing, and it was a way to be paid to write for a living. But I like making stuff up, and funny, unless you work for like Fox News, they tend to frown on you making stuff up randomly in the place of news. So I was probably better off moving away.
Okay, lastly, what message do you have for all of your South African fans watching?
I
put you on the spot there.
Okay, well, no, A, thank you very much for supporting me, and B, I buy a lot of South African wine with your money. So in a way, by supporting me, you're supporting your own economy. So keep buying them, folks.
You can get John Connolly's A Song of Shadows at all good bookstores. And if you've read it already, let us know what you thought of the book in the comment section below this video.